So Mishna Berura said that although the Mechaber says this, most poskim argue, even the Vilna Gaon says it's possible, that if you don't blacken it. However, he says if one has no other tefillin, even if the black of the tefillin sharosh is lightened or it comes off, you should wear the tefillin. Because of those Chaber rules, like those, is that it's only the ritzus, the straps. It wasn't clear, he didn't say. No, even if it was never blackened. It was never blackened. Yeah. It says, the yesh lahachmir im lo b'mok lo efshe yishluf adivrim ekilin k'dei shlitzvatel mitzvah tefillin. But he doesn't say you should say a bracha. You wouldn't. Seemingly, he would say you would say a bracha. You would not say a bracha. It's something. It's a question. It's a question. Most poskim hold it's nothing. It's possible. And he says, and the Vilna Gaon leans to that it's possible. But the Mechaber and the Ramah doesn't argue. They say it's kosher. It's lacking hidur, but hidur is not a reason to make it possible.
Putting that without a bracha is still the mitzvah.
Bracha is rabbinical, right? So rabbinical. You forget to say alachilas matzah before you eat the matzah. You don't have to eat the matzah again.
You
don't have to eat the matzah again, right? You ate a k'zayis matzah and you had it, right? The bracha is purely rabbinical. Yeah. Okay. Chritz shebein bayis lebayis. The chritz is that ridge, which is separates one bayis from the next. Shoshe gerat tefer has to go all the way down to the base. That's l'chatchila. Even though a giyak sheiro, u'shei nikar achritz, they should the four compartments. Okay.
Not the ridge on the outside of the box.
No. Right between the four compartments. Right. That you be able to see. He said, we'll see that even if they're separated on top, it doesn't go all the way down to the bottom. It's valid. It's kosher. Let's see Mishna Berura. No. Gluing is a problem. We'll see. Sif Daled Simin Lamed Gimel. Einsham Shabru Daramor Kozel Shitz Mechaber Hocha Durak Mitzvah Balmo. Okay, that's Vushiyeh. Avalameno Nikami Bachutz. If the ridge is not noticeable, Avshu Bifni Yeshtal Batim. Although inside the tefillin there are four compartments. Chol Parsha Nachs Bayis Bifnei Atzmo, and each parsha is in its own compartment. Loman, it's not valid. If on the outside you don't see it. Nikar Achritz Avol Srito or Rishim Ba'amal Mahani Klau. Here, what is just a scratch? Here it's mamish. Literally, it goes in, right? It's not just a scratch on the outside. It's like an indentation. The way we have it, the way it looks. Second, Ki al koponso hevdil ma'at bein abatim. They have to be separated to some degree. She'acharitzim nikoram mamish. So it comes out interesting. We'll see soon. If you glue it, it's a problem. If they're glued together. He said some sofa, they glue it, they're doing the wrong thing. But let's say they just glue the center, but the outer part of the bias is not glued. So you have it's noticeable that what they really are separate compartments. If they're glued together, it's considered, we had earlier, if glue is considered one or, right, we had an argument, if you have tefillin made of one hide. If you sew the leather together or you glue it together, there was a question whether it's considered one or it's still separate pieces. So if you have the opinion that gluing causes it to be one, so it comes out if you glue together all four batim, you have one bias. Even though inside, there are four different compartments. Right? So he says the chritz has to be noticeable that you see them as separate compartments. I mean, the glue doesn't go all the way to the outside of the bias. You follow me, Ernie? The Chayyim rejected the behavior, the action of the scribes, and then they coat the bias with some kind of coating or with like a shellac. And then they go and they take the knife or whatever it is, and they just scratch it. But factually, the bottom are glued all the way till the very end. So if they're glued, it's considered like one big bias, although inside they're separate compartments. Omash gam lechatchilo bino sheachritz magi lechatchilo should go all the way to the bottom. They go and they glue it and they put this shellac on it, right? This glaze, and then they go just scratch it, and it doesn't even go down to the bottom. Ayin ber halocha koshkem sof shetol or al dalabatim. They go after they have dalbatim, they put another piece of leather, an outer coating of leather, and then they just make a scratch on the outer part, but it's not 4 compartments, nothing. Roshim b'charitzin b'sakshi nire karba batim deposel. It appears as if it's 4, but it's not. Ta'idezin naset tefillah shel yad. It's no different than the tefillin shel yad. On the outside, even though you have 4 separate, they put another piece of leather over, and they stitch it down to the bottom. Visually, they have to be seen. Yeah. No, it is. He doesn't make it. He said it is. It is. Now, Yedei Zed Naset Tefillin Shel Yad. Doesn't say Kid Tefillin. There's no kuf. The Yedei Zed Naset Tefillin Shel Yad. When you put a piece of leather on top of it, it's of course it's literally it looks because it looks like one bias. Yeah. Again, what about tefillin shel yad? You take it and you weave it in and out, right? The margins between each parsha is wide enough that you weave it in and out. That each parsha is fully is valid. It's valid because it's on one parchment, and the bias is one bias. That's the halacha. Second. Let's do the Be'er Halacha on the very bottom. 107. The indentation. If it doesn't go all the way down to the bottom, it's valid. Mashma. It seems that even those who they paste the 4 compartments together. What they do? They paste it all the way down from top all the way, and they leave at the very bottom. They leave it unpasted, right? Well, why do they glue it? They glue it because it's going to come apart. It has to be square. So how do you guarantee it remains its cube-like shape? You just glue it, so it never gets out of shape. It always sticks together. No, he's talking about even the bottom, because it says the chritz. No, you can see the chritz on the bottom too. You leave it all the way to the bottom. So he's talking about you leave it on the bottom. The Vadi says as long as it's not a scratch in the shellac or in the glaze, but it's truly through and through, it's okay. That's the chayodom. Ubechuvas chasam sover simin hey mashman nogim lasos atfila idei dibuk lo mahane afila achritzin nikoros. He says if they paste the bottom together with glue, they glue it together. Even if you have the chritzim on nikoros, it's possible. Elimuvdolas legamri. Hear this? The chasam sover holds that has to be separated all the way straight through. Sheyu ribuan kayom. V'oz yizor sheyu ribuan kayom. Ki motzi shal yidei hevdil never a ribua. Hear this? He says, Chasam Sof says you can't use glue. You can't glue any part of the bottom together. So if that's the case, how does it maintain its shape? He says it's difficult. And therefore, as a result of that, it's very common that it loses its shape.
How do you do it now?
Today, it's a whole process. The leather is hard. It's processed differently. And they put it in this press, and whatever they do with all the chemicals, and they sand it and they have it away. That if you don't expose it to moisture, it retains its shape. That no question. That's a separate discussion. Nobody argues that. He said the minig is not like the Chasam Sofer, it's like the Chayodam. that as long as if any of the chritz, any of the indentation is noticeable, it can be glued all the way down to the bottom, but at the bottom, if you have that opening, or on top you have the opening, the separation is valid. So as a result of that, you guarantee the shape, it's not going to lose its shape, because it's glued almost down to the bottom. He says, even though the minute is not like the Chassam Sofer in Poland and Russia, but a person's Yerushalayim to try to have that the compartments are totally separate, the way the Chassam Sofer says, not glued whatsoever. Preferably, it's understood the noch lasus kain. He says, but if they're not pasted whatsoever, but ultimately, if they're not glued, they can lose the shape. And once everybody agrees the ribua, if it loses its squareness, it's not valid. He says at the base, that part of the compartment you should glue together. As long as the bottom is glued, it'll last much longer. He says that's what I said earlier. You don't glue it straight across. When you glue it, you just glue the center, right in the middle. So the top is open, the bottom is open. So because the center is being held together with glue, it's going to keep its shape. According to that, he says, second, he says, what about if the space is too large and it's not going to hold? You're going to see right through it, right? They have to be close enough that visually it's not that you can see a space from one there. He says you take a thin piece of parchment, put glue on it, and put it in there. Because if you glue it on there, so then what? Right? You're filling the space. Study up. No, blank parchment. He says the top of the bottom are not glued and the bottom not glued. So you see the spaces, the indentations and the shape. What happens is, if they're glued, if there's any pressure applied, we're talking about especially if they're not gasos, the leather is very thin. You pull it apart, you're going to tear. You're going to tear one of the walls are going to get torn inside. What? There you have a hole. I mean, it's a problem.
Rabbi, practically, they do the mold, they do the piecing, they put the glue together.
No, if you have the mold, you don't press too much.
So
the glue holds it together.
The last thing you put in is the parshas, right?
Of course, always.
You put them into the bottom?
The bottom, sure.
So if the glue is in the middle...
No, has nothing to do with it, no. No, the middle means the walls. You have the walls, the outside, you have the walls on the outside. They're separate. So how do you guarantee? You put a little glue here, a little glue here, so they're just attached in the center. The top is open, the bottom is open. So because they're attached in the center, that will guarantee it'll keep its shape.
Right now, the parsha
No, inside. There's a flap underneath.
Yeah.
Take a look from the bottom, you have stitches. That's stitched closed. So that's where they insert them, the bottom.